Today is the 12th of May 2025. This is a brand new edition of Newsfirst's Primetime News, coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo, bringing you the news tonight for the Newsfirst team. I am Jaimal Ratnayak.
And I am Hashini Patharama. First up is a look at your headlines for tonight.
Vesak full moon Poya day observed today. Devotees engage in material and spiritual offerings island-wide. Sirasa Vesak zone commences at Braybrook Place. Exposition of sacred relics to be held today and tomorrow. Over 40 remain hospitalized over Kotmale bus accident as depot manager confirms quality assurance of the bus was ensured. Final rites of several military officials who perished in the Maduru Oya helicopter tragedy held today. Virat Kohli announces retirement from Test cricket.
Sadham sisi les denina sit vinam nivan mag soyana devina sit vinam tunruvan kirana randana sit vinam Sirasa namami
Sirasa namami.
The Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vesak zone has officially opened, marking the start of one of Sri Lanka's most anticipated spiritual and cultural events. Thousands of Buddhist devotees are expected to visit as the zone is filled with lights, colors and devotion.
This year's highlight is a stunning pandal that tells the story of the Andhabhuta Jataka along with traditional dances. The opening ceremony was held under the patronage of Secretary to the Ministry of Defence, retired Air Vice Marshal Sabat Tuyakonta.
Air Vice Marshal Sampath Tuyakonta මහතාගේ සහභාගීත්වයෙන් සමාරම්භය එලෙස සිදුවද්දී අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා මේ වෛශාඛ්‍ය මංගල්‍යයේ වෙසක් පෙරහැර මංගල්‍ය ආරම්භ කරන්නට මේ මොහොතේ අපි ආරාධනා කර සිටිනවා ආරක්ෂක ලේකම්තුමන්ට අන්ධභූත ජාතක කතා වස්තුව රැගත් තොරන් රාජාගේ ආලෝක ධාරා මෙලෙසින් විවෘත කරන්නට සිරසා නමාමි සිරස වෙසක් කලාපය ආමිස කලාපය.
Amid the deep reverence of devotees, sacred Buddhist relics began their ceremonial procession from the Nelligala International Buddhist Center on the 9th of May in honor of thousands of Buddhist devotees participating in the Sirasa Vesak zone. The motorcade carrying the relics travelled through Nittambua, Kalagedihena, Yakkala, Miriswatta, Balumahara, Kirillavala, Eldeniya, Kadawatha, Mahara, Kiribatgoda and Torana Junction, arriving at the historic Kalaniya Rajamahaviharaya yesterday. This morning, the sacred relics resumed their ceremonial procession following religious observances held at the historic Kalaniya Rajamahaviharaya. The procession passed through Angoda Junction, Kalapaluava Junction and proceeded to Koswatta, Battaramulla, Diyata Uyana, Rajagiriya, DS Senanayaka Junction and the Nelum Pokuna roundabout, ultimately reaching the Colombo Municipal Council premises. Along the way, the procession provided an opportunity for devotees to pay their respects with offerings and prayers being made as the sacred relics passed by. This afternoon, the Sambuddha Puja was held at the Buddhabhivandana Vesak zone located within the premises of the Colombo Municipal Council.
Sirasa
The motorcade transporting the sacred relics arrived at its final destination at the Sirasa Namami West Zone in Braybrook Place, Colombo this evening.
අහවර තැනක නැත සසර නිමාවේ හිස් මනස් කෙලෙස් වල පෙඟි පෙඟි දැවුනේ මග නොදැන.
The sacred relic, believed to have been gifted to Sri Lanka in 1886 by King Chula Lankara and currently enshrined at the historic Paramananda Rajamahavihara in Gaul, was ceremoniously transported to the Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vesak zone in a beautifully adorned motorcade.
When I see the 2025 edition of the Sirasa Namami Vesak zone, I am remembered of Mr. Kili Rajamahendran. During one of his frequent visits, he learned that relics of Buddha's chief disciples were enshrined at the Mahabodhi temple. He then requested me to launch a program to allow the masses to venerate these relics. Even today, it brings me great joy to see Sashi Rajamahendran following his father's footsteps, as well as those within the group working to uphold that legacy.
කර්තව්‍ය දිගටම කරගෙන යන එක ගැන
මේ අසිරිමත් වූ ලාංකීය බෞද්ධ ජනතාවට තිරෙන කරපු සුන්දර දායාදයක් තමයි.
The Sirasa Namami Vesak zone is truly a great offering to the Sri Lankan Buddhist community. This Vesak zone embodies the true essence of Buddhism. We invite you to join this Vesak zone with the values you have learned through the Buddha's teachings.
සාර්ථක වේවා කියලා ආශිර්වාදනය කරනවා.
අපිට පුළුවන් වුණා සිරස වෙසක් පෙරහැර
We were able to create the Sirasa Vesak Perahera. It becomes the one and only Vesak Perahera held in Colombo. Organizing it was not a simple task. But those who supported us in the seamless execution of it are the Defence Secretary, heads of the three forces, the Inspector General of Police and the head of the Civil Defence Force. Various cultural academies island-wide are partnering with us in this endeavour. Join us and witness this colourful occasion.
වෙසක් පෙරහැර සමග එක්වන්න
අපගේ හිටපු සභාපති ආර් රාජමහේන්ද්‍රන් මහත්මයා
Our former chairman R. Rajamahendran and current chairman Sashi Rajamahendran echo the sentiment of operating as an organization that is accountable to the people. If that is our foremost priority, we must do what is right in the best possible manner. We may face obstacles in these endeavors, but our belief in the ultimate vision will not falter. In many instances, we didn't even consider the commercial aspect of things, but we did not suffer any detriment. Not only that, we developed further and achieved success. Today, the Sirasa Media Network stands tall as the strongest media network in the country. We have ventured beyond the confines of a media network. The reason for all this success is the vision we worked toward. We didn't limit ourselves to only reporting about poverty. We launched Gammadda to address it. By today, the international community is studying that movement. In times of crisis or natural disasters, we launched Sahanayatra, going beyond reporting it on the news. That was more than 25 years ago. This is now a movement that has won the hearts of the masses. The Sirasa Vesak zone is an ideal example of doing what is right to the best of our ability. We strive for change and development instead of engaging in the same processes. The Sirasa Perahera is an extension of that ethos.
ඇත්තටම සිරස මාධ්‍යයෙන් කරන හැම වර්ෂයක් පස්සම අපිත් එනවා. හැම වර්ෂයකම අපි ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා මේක බලන්න. මං කව මේක නම් මං කොහොමයි වඳිනවා අපිට නුවර යන්නත් බැරි වුණානේ කියලා. එඳ තමයි උදේ ආවේ මම මේ 6 වෙනි වතාවටයි මේ බලන්නේ. මගේ ජීවිතේ ලැබූ ලොකම වාසනාවක් ජීවමාන බුදුන් දැක්කා සමාන දාත් බලා ගන්න තමයි ආවේ. කොහොම හරි කරලා වඳින්න ගිය අවුරුද්දෙත් ඇඳා. හැම අවුරුද්දෙම
For the next 4 days, the Sirasa Vesak zone is showcasing a stunning pandal depicting the story of the Andabhuta Jataka. Visitors can also enjoy colourful lanterns and puppet shows around the zone. A devotional song recital has been arranged as well. A large rice dansal will also be open today and tomorrow for those visiting the Vesak zone. Devotees from across Sri Lanka are expected to visit the Sirasa Vesak zone. The Sirasa Vesak zone Perahara took place at 7 p.m. earlier today. The procession began at the Newsfirst headquarters, then proceeded through Dawson Street, Park Street, past the Colombo Town Hall near Lipton Roundabout, and it then continued through Union Place before returning to the Vesak zone.
As we witness all the colourful events organised in line of Vesak Full Moon Poya Day, the Sirasa Namami Poya Day program was also held today at the Department Broadcasting Centre in line with the Sirasa Vesak zone.
The Sirasa Namami Poya Day program was held today at the Department Broadcasting Centre and began with a Sambuddha Puja early this morning, presided over by Venerable Siembalagoda Dhamminda Thera. Following the offering, devotees observed Atasil, or the 8 precepts, after which a special Vesak sermon on the Sirasa Damsara program was delivered by Venerable Hasalaka Siha Vimala Thera. Venerable Galigamuye Jnanadeepa Thera then delivered a Dhamma sermon titled Sarasit Sadhana Sanaramara Sevana. A sermon aimed at inspiring calm and noble thoughts. A special youth-focused Dhamma discussion, Turunusita Daham Katikava, was also held. It was conducted by Venerable Moravatte Subodhi Thera and featured young singer Anjali Budavatta as a guest participant.
Today is the Vesak Full Moon Poya Day, the most sacred day in Buddhism, commemorating the 3 pivotal events in the life of the Buddha: his birth, enlightenment, and passing into parinirvana. Buddhists around the world throughout the day engage in both material and spiritual offerings, such as almsgiving, observing precepts, and lighting lamps, in reverent remembrance of this noble occasion, paying homage to the name of Gautama Buddha with devoted hearts.
It was on a day like today that the gods from the heavenly realm of Tusitha approached the Bodhisattva Siddhartha, who resided there, and humbly invited him to be born into the human world and attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. Accepting that divine invitation, the Bodhisattva examined the appropriate time, continent, country, caste and mother for his final birth. Entering the womb of Queen Mahamaya, he was born in the Sal Grove of Lumbini in Dambadiva on a Vesak full moon Poya Day. Having declared his supremacy over the 3 worlds with a lion's roar at birth, he later resided in King Suddhodana's palace, enjoying royal comforts during his youth. Eventually, upon seeing the 4 signs, an old man, a sick person, a corpse, and a monk, he became disenchanted with worldly life and renounced it. On a Vesak full moon Poya Day, beneath the shade of the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, Prince Siddhartha entered deep meditation, eradicated all defilements, and realized the 4 noble truths, attaining supreme enlightenment as the fully enlightened Buddha. Having dedicated his entire life to liberating beings from the sufferings of samsara, the Buddha, together with the great Sangha, wandered from village to village, teaching the path of nirvana. All conditioned things are subject to decay. Strive diligently with mindfulness. Those were his final words. It was on another Vesak full moon Poya Day that, having delivered his last sermon, the Buddha attained Parinibbana in the Sal Grove named Upavattana in Kusinara, under the care of the Malla kings. The Buddha's final and 3rd visit to Sri Lanka also occurred on a Vesak full moon day. Answering the invitation of King Maniakika, the Buddha visited Kalaniya and, at the request of the deity Saman, placed his sacred footprint on the summit of Adam's Peak, also known as Sripada. According to the chronicles, it was also on a Vesak full moon Poya day that Prince Vijaya and his 700 followers arrived in Sri Lanka.
On the sacred Vesak full moon Poya day, the Mahasangha delivered guidance to the public.
This is the most sacred and revered religious day for Buddhists across the world. We must all make a sincere effort to observe this day with deep meaning. It is essential to cultivate faith, devotion and reverence towards the triple gem, the Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha, and to commit to living a virtuous and disciplined life. On this day, it is especially important that we all resolve to lead lives of purpose and spiritual value. On this noble and auspicious day, Buddhists around the world should engage with unwavering devotion and wisdom in acts of merit, such as almsgiving, observing precepts, and meditation in honor of the Buddha. It is a time to reflect upon his boundless virtues, to uphold moral discipline, and to actively practice the threefold path of merit. Not only in Sri Lanka, but Buddhists throughout the world are earnestly participating in both material and spiritual offerings during this period. With great dedication, they are striving to follow the path of Dhamma shown by the Buddha. Therefore, during this Vesak season, everyone should be inspired to observe both types of offerings and to allow the Dhamma to illuminate their lives, bringing spiritual fulfillment and well-being. The theme of the National Vesak Week 2025 is Let Us Associate with Noble Friends. The National Vesak Zone will centre around the Nuwara Buddhist Centre. This Vesak Zone is organised under the guidance of the Mahasangha by the All-Island Buddhist Advisory Council in collaboration with the President's Office, the Prime Minister's Office, the Ministry of Buddha Sasana, Religious and Cultural Affairs and several other state institutions. The National Vesak Zone will remain open to the public daily from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. until the 16th of May, allowing devotees to participate in religious observances and cultural activities. Meanwhile, the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board conducted awareness programs today on the risks of dangerous substances at several locations, including the Sri Senanandarama Viharya in Magastota and the Sri Mahindarama Temple in Meepilimana. These programs were held in conjunction with the state-sponsored Vesak celebrations. The Vesak Zone, conducted surrounding the Gangaramaya Temple in Colombo, was officially inaugurated this evening. The Gangaramaya Vesak Zone features a variety of elements including traditional lanterns, devotional music, dansal and illuminated pandals. Since this evening, devotees and visitors have been arriving to witness and participate in the religious and cultural festivities of the Gangaramaya Vesak Zone.
We are now crossing over to Mariam Gunavijaya for a live update from the Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vesak Zone.
Well, just like every other, Sirasa Vesak Zone is back in Colombo for everyone to come watch and enjoy. Well, thousands of devotees are already here at the Sirasa Vesak Zone, right here in Union Place in Colombo. You can see people behind me, and they are here to enjoy the spirit of Vesak, the festivities here at the Sirasa Vesak Zone. Of course, there's so much for you to look forward to. Right behind me is a beautiful pandal. There are so many traditional performances happening. There are dansals happening for people to enjoy. There's a Perahara that began earlier today, and of course something that so many people come here to the Sirasa Vesak Zone for is to pay homage to the Sarvanya relics that were brought from the Nelligal International Buddhist Center and the Brajamaha Viharaya in Gaul. So this is something that you can come here to the Sirasa Vesak zone and pay homage to over the next 2 days. And the Sirasa Vesak zone will be happening over the next 4 days right here in Union Place in Colombo. There are so many people behind me who have come here to enjoy the festivities of Vesak that you will be able to experience too if you're here at the Sirasa Vesak zone in Union Place. So don't miss out. Come here and enjoy the spirit of Vesak just like us with everyone else and enjoy the spirit of Vesak. So reporting to you for the Newsfirst team from the Sirasa Vesak zone in Union Place, I am Mariam Ganavijaya.
In line with the Sirasa Namami Vesak Zone, the Colombo Municipal Council's Vesak Zone, named Buddha Bivandana 2025, is now underway at the grounds adjacent to the Colombo Town Hall. We are now crossing over to Budmi Namradirakra for a live update from the Sirasa Vesak Zone.
In line with the Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vesak Zone 2025, the Colombo Municipal Council Vesak Zone Buddha Bivandana 2025 is underway right now here at the grounds of the town hall premises, and as we can see, it is decorated beautifully, and we can see a lot of lanterns, and also we can see a lot of people who are coming here taking pictures, and also they are here to celebrate this year's Vesak 2025. And Colombo, talking about Colombo, Colombo is beautiful with a lot of lights, a lot of lanterns everywhere, and right now we are here at this year's Buddha Bivandana 2025, which is held in line with this year's Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vesak Zone 2025. Reporting to you, I am Budmi Namradirakra for Newsfirst.
Newsfirst with the people.
More than 40 people remain hospitalized following a devastating bus accident in Garandiyala Ramboda in Kothmale yesterday. Hospital sources confirm that several of the injured are in critical condition. The incident has claimed the lives of 22 people so far.
A bus belonging to the Kathragama depot of the Sri Lanka Transport Board bearing the registration number CP/NC 1144 was travelling from Kathragama to Kurunegala via Nuwara when it veered off the Nuwara Gampula main road and plunged into a precipice in the Garandiyala area of Kothmale near Ramboda. 22 individuals, including 5 women, lost their lives in the accident. The injured were swiftly transported to nearby hospitals with the assistance of local residents and members of the security forces. All those who received treatment at the Kothmale Divisional Hospital have since been discharged after receiving medical care. 5 patients are currently receiving treatment at the Navalapitiya Hospital, while 22 individuals remain under medical care at the Gampula Teaching Hospital. 15 people are being treated at the Nuwara Hospital, with hospital sources confirming that the condition of the 2 patients is critical. Post-mortem examinations have been completed for 21 of the 22 people who lost their lives in the tragedy, and their remains have been handed over to their families. The identity of one of the deceased has not been confirmed. Among those who perished in the crash was the bus driver, 44-year-old W. Karum Chandana. He was a veteran employee of the Sri Lanka Transport Board, having served as a bus driver for 16 years. He had been operating on the Kathragama-Kurunegala route for nearly 4 years.
යාළුවෙකුට අර බඩුවගයක් යවන්න තියෙන එකට බස් එකකට කෝල් කරන්න මහත්තයා මට අරගත්ත කෝල් එක ඊට පස්සේ පරිස්සමෙන් ඉන්නේ කියලා වෙසක් කූඩු අලවන්නේ කිව්වා හෙට ළමයින්ට ගෙන්න කිව්වා බල්බ් වගේක් එහෙම කියලා යනවා කිව්වා 10 ගානට ඩියුටි.
In a tribute to their fallen colleague and the passengers who lost their lives, white flags were raised today at the Kathragama bus depot. Meanwhile, the manager of the Kathragama depot confirmed that the bus involved in the accident, bearing the registration number CP/NC 1144, had been dispatched for the scheduled route only after undergoing the required inspection. Long distance buses are always subjected to routine inspections before they depart. Only experienced drivers are assigned for these routes. They stop at 2 locations, including in Valimada, for tea breaks. Employees are given a 20 to 30-minute break at those locations. That is how the 10-hour journey is conducted. The driver was 44 years old. We only assign drivers and conductors who are seasoned and healthy for these long distance routes. Amid one of the most harrowing accidents in recent memory, the bravery of local residents has not gone unnoticed. Despite the dangerous conditions at the scene and in the absence of immediate access to emergency medical and rescue services, area residents launched a courageous rescue effort. Their swift and selfless intervention is widely credited with saving many lives that may otherwise have been lost. Their actions are being recognized as a remarkable display of community heroism. Rushing to the scene yesterday, residents of the area worked alongside security personnel to rescue those who were trapped inside the overturned bus as well as those pinned beneath it. Their coordinated and timely efforts enabled many of the injured to be swiftly transported to nearby hospitals, ultimately saving numerous lives. In a heartfelt tribute, residents lit oil lamps last night in remembrance of the 22 people who lost their lives. Religious observances are scheduled to take place today, organized by local residents in merit of those who lost their lives. Even today, the community remains in deep shock over the tragic events that unfolded. Several individuals who played a crucial role in rescuing passengers and saving lives during the incident shared their experiences with us.
ඊයේ උදේ 6ට 6යි කාලට විතර මට ආරංචි වුණා බස් එක පෙරලිලා තියෙනවා කියලා. මම ආව ගමන් බයික් එක නතර කරලා මට කරන්න පුළුවන් දේ දුවගෙන පල්ලෙහාට දුවගෙන ගිහිල්ලා ඉවරලා බස් එක ඇතුළට මම පැනලා ඉවරලා පුළුවන් තරම් ඉර වෙලා හිටපු අය ගත්තා. try කරේ පණ පිටින් ඉන්න අය ගන්න. 11:00 12 විතර වුණා අන්තිම පණ තියෙන කෙනත් එළියට ගන්න වෙලාවේ. ඉවිල්ලා ඉවරලා මම ඉස්සල්ලාම කරේ ගෙදරට ගිහිල්ලා බිම් ඉදගෙන අඬපු එක. දැනටුණත් කතා කරන්න අමාරුයි. අපිට දුකයි කන්නවත් බෑ. හිත හිර කරගෙන පුළුවන් තරම් වැඩ කරා. නමුත් අමාරුවෙන් ඒ ටික කරා මිනිසුගේ ජීවිත බේර ගන්න ඕන හින්දා. අන්තිම බොඩි එක පවා එළියට ගන්න වෙලාවේ මම හිටියා එතන මම අතින් ඇදලා ගත්තා. සමහර බොඩිස් ගන්නකොට එයාගේ සාක්කුවල තිබිලා ෆෝන් වැටෙනවා. ඒ ෆෝන් වලට කෝල් එනවා ඒ වෙලාවට. අපිට කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. පොලිසිය මාතුරුන්ට ෆෝන් ටික බාර දුන්නා. ඇත්තටම කියන්න අමාරුයි. හිත හිර කරගෙන හිටියට අමාරුයි ඉන්න.
තාම කැවෙන දැන් අතර දැන් දවස් එකමාරක් වෙන දැන් වෙලාව කන්න බෑ තාම. ඔතෝ එකක් තමයි බොගුන්නේ. තාම යන්න බෑ වැඩට ගියෙත් නෑ. මම වැඩ කරන්නේ නුවරඑළියේ මට ෂොප් එකක වැඩ කරන්නේ. නමුත් වැඩ කරන්න විදියක් නෑ. වැඩ කරන්න බෑ. ඇඟ සම්පූර්ණ වේවුලුනොත් ඇල්ල වගේ තේරෙනවා ඇඟ කොහොමද. කරන්නේ හෙට හාමුදුරු නමක් ගෙන්නලා පිරිත් ටිකක් කියලා අපිට පුළුවන් විදියට අපි ඉතින් ඒ කට්ටිය නැති වෙච්ච කට්ටියටයි ජීවතුන් අතර ඉන්න කට්ටියටයි පින් අනුමෝදන් කළා. නිවන් සුව ලැබේවා කියලා අපි ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා ඉතින් මහත්තයෝ.
යනකොට කෑ ගගා හිටියා කට්ටිය. විසිරලා හිටියා ගොඩක් මිනිස්සු. බස් එකේ 15ක් 16ක් විතර ඇතුළේ හිර වෙලා හිටියා. අතපය කැඩිච්ච ගොඩක් කට්ටිය හිටියා. බස් එකෙන් ගිහිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ කරුම දැනගෙන ගහක්වත් නැහැ එතන අනිත් පැත්තම හැමතැනම ගස් තියෙනවා. අර කඩවල් දෙකක් මැද්දෙන් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ගිහිල්ලා ගිහින් අර ගලේ වැදිලා ගලේ තමයි ගොඩක් ඒ ඉස්සරහ පැත්තේ තමයි මිනිස්සු මේ ඉඳලා තියෙන ඒ පැත්තේ මේ ගන්න තමයි ගොඩක් පරක් වුණේ. ඉතින් අර ගමේ කොල්ලෝ ඇවිල්ලා තමයි කපලා මේ ග්‍රයින්ඩර් වලින් ගෑස් අරමව ගන්නලා මේ කපලා ගත්තේ.
In times of disaster or sudden crisis, our small island nation continues to prove itself rich, not in health, but in humanity. The selflessness and courage shown by ordinary people who risk their own safety to help one another stand as a testament to the spirit that defines Sri Lanka. That very spirit was on full display yesterday in Kotmale, where locals sprang into action amid a horrifying tragedy. With no hesitation, they became guardian angels, rescuing those trapped between steel and stone, suspended between life and death at the edge of a steep precipice. Their extraordinary compassion and heroism will not be forgotten. Tonight, we bow our heads in gratitude and deep respect for those who reminded us all of what it truly means to be human.
A Bell 212 helicopter operated by the Sri Lanka Air Force tragically crashed into the Maduru reservoir on Friday, claiming the lives of 6 personnel from both the Air Force and the Sri Lanka Army. Their final rites were held today.
Among the Bell 212 helicopter crash victims was Sergeant Tusita Warner of the Army Special Forces, a resident of Pinnavala in Balangoda. His funeral was held at the Guru Babila Public Cemetery in Pinnavala, Balangoda. The body of 28-year-old Corporal Vimukti Dasanayaka, who also lost his life in the crash, is currently at his residence in Vilgamu, Matale. His final rites are scheduled for tomorrow afternoon at the Makulugolla Public Cemetery. The final rites of Corporal Lakmal Pereira of the Army Special Forces, a resident of Tekavatta, Katana, was held today. The funeral was held at the public cemetery located next to Tekavatta Church in Katana. Flight Sergeant Sanat Udekumar of the Sri Lanka Air Force, who joined the service in 2004, was also among the victims. He was a father of two. His funeral was held at the Mahatana Public Cemetery this afternoon with full military honours, including an Air Force ceremonial gun salute.
The United States and China have agreed to significantly reduce tariffs in the next 90 days. The move comes after US President Donald Trump signaled that trade talks with Beijing were going well over the weekend.
The US and China will temporarily lower tariffs on each other's products in a move to cool trade tensions and give the world's two largest economies 3 more months to resolve their differences.
We have reached an agreement on a 90-day pause and substantially moved down the tariff levels. Both sides on the reciprocal tariffs will move their tariffs down 115%. We had very robust discussions. Both sides showed great respect, and we both have an interest in balanced trade. The U.S. will continue moving towards that.
The combined 145% US levies on most Chinese imports will be reduced to 30%, including the rate tied to fentanyl, by the 14th May, while 125% Chinese duties on US goods will drop to 10%. Beijing, for its part, announced substantial progress in trade talks with Washington. A joint statement on the deal confirmed the 90-day pause will begin on the 14th May. It also says both countries will establish a mechanism to continue discussions about economic and trade relations. Scott Bessent will represent the US, while Vice Premier He Lifeng will represent the Chinese government. The further talks may be held in the US, China, or an agreed third-party nation. The meetings in Geneva were the first time top US and Chinese economic officials met in person since President Donald Trump came back into office and initiated a trade war, with especially high ones aimed at China. Now, since taking office in January, Trump has hiked the tariffs paid by US importers for goods from China to a massive 145%, in addition to those he imposed on many Chinese goods during his first term and the duties levied by the Biden administration. Now, how did China respond to these tariffs? Now, China responded by limiting exports of key rare earth materials crucial for US companies making weapons and electronics, and also increasing its own tariffs on US goods to 125%. Targeting rivals like China and allies alike, the tariffs have caused billions of dollars of losses to the US economy and sent stock markets tumbling. However, markets are showing some positive signs today as hopes rise that the talks in Geneva could lead to a cooling of tensions. Stocks surged today following the announcement from US and Chinese officials, sparking hopes that both sides may finally ease tensions which have been unsettling global markets. Futures tracking Wall Street's S&P 500 rose 2.6%, while contracts for the Nasdaq 100 jumped 3.8%, setting the tech-heavy index up for its best trading day in over a month. Asian markets also saw strong gains, with Hong Kong rising more than 3% and Shanghai experiencing healthy buying interest. Tokyo, Sydney, Seoul, Taipei and Wellington all finished in the green. Across Europe, London, Paris and Frankfurt each climbed more than 1%. Oil prices surged more than 3% as market speculation grew that reduced China-US tensions could help boost demand. Meanwhile, both the US dollar and the Chinese yuan strengthened. The dollar gained against the pound, euro and Japanese yen, while the yuan rose against those three currencies as well as the dollar itself.
A Kurdish militant group has announced it is to disband and disarm as part of a peace initiative with Turkey after 4 decades of armed conflict.
Outlawed Kurdish group the PKK, which has waged a 40-year insurgency against Turkey, has announced it is laying down its arms and disbanding. The move followed a call in February by the group's jailed leader Abdullah Öcalan for the organization to disband. The group is banned as a terrorist group in Turkey, the EU, UK and US. The PKK insurgency initially aimed to create an independent homeland for Kurds, who account for about 20% of Turkey's population. But according to reports, it has since moved away from its separatist goals, focusing instead on more autonomy and greater Kurdish rights. More than 40,000 people have been killed in the conflict since the PKK launched its insurgency in 1984.
In what could be the most extravagant gift ever presented to the United States by a foreign government, the Trump administration is preparing to reserve a super luxury Boeing 747-8 jumbo jet from the royal family of Qatar. The aircraft, set to serve as Air Force One for President Donald Trump during his remaining time in office, will later be transferred to the Trump Presidential Library Foundation. According to sources familiar with the plans, the gift had been expected to be announced next week when Trump visits Qatar on the first foreign trip of his second term. But a senior White House official said the gift will not be presented or gifted while the president is in Qatar this week. In a social media post on Sunday night, Trump confirmed his administration was preparing to accept the aircraft, calling it, quote-unquote, very public and transparent transaction with the Defense Department. Trump had previously toured the plane, which is so opulently configured it is known as a flying palace, while it was parked at the West Palm Beach International Airport in February. The highly unusual, unprecedented arrangement is sure to raise questions about whether it is legal for the Trump administration and ultimately the Trump Presidential Library Foundation to accept such a valuable gift from a foreign power.
Virat Kohli has announced his retirement from Test cricket, bringing the curtain down on a career that spanned 14 years.
After days of speculation, Indian cricket great Virat Kohli has confirmed his retirement from Test cricket with immediate effect in an emotional post on Instagram. The former Indian captain stated that, quote-unquote, "It's been 14 years since I wore the baggy blue in Test cricket. Honestly, I never imagined the journey this format would take me on. It's tested me, shaped me and taught me lessons I'll carry for life."
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight.
Thank you for watching.
Good night.
Good night.